Ken Trahan with Lenny Vangilder. It's our first NBC Bank weekend preview brought to you by First NBC Bank with 39 locations throughout southeast Louisiana and into the Florida Panhandle. That's First NBC Bank, proud sponsor of SportsNola.com. Well, the Saints are continuing to make roster moves in their quest to try to improve their roster and to replace injured players. They've added a defensive back. They've cut a major investment. And they've released a guy that was a starting fullback a year ago from the practice squad. So, Lenny, obviously this is a team that continues to search for the answers, trying to plug holes in the dike. And certainly the most significant move was the release of C.J. Spiller, a major financial investment for the Saints, and yet another along the lines of Brandon Browner that fell way short.
Yeah, another free agent whiff, if you will. And well, a lot of money invested now, a lot of dead money. The dead money number for 2016 now up north of $40 million. Basically a quarter of your cap is being paid to players who are no longer on the roster. And that's concerning, but you've also still got cap space because of the Breeze deal last week. So, you know, there's still some wiggle room in there if you need to have to go do things. You're not up against it. It's certainly not cap related. It's more injury related at this point. Sean Payton talking to the media for the first time on Wednesday since the move was made Tuesday afternoon with Spiller. Two things. One, they tried to trade him, but really didn't have enough time to get a trade partner out there because things were accelerated by the Delvin Breaux injury and having to bring in a replacement at corner. And secondly, he did not rule out a return either. So it's not that this is, you know, they're not parting in bad ways. This was strictly a move that needed to be made in terms of trying to free up a spot on a roster to replace Breaux at this point.
Even if he comes back, he's behind all the guys they have. So obviously this was a major miss in terms of free agent signings. And you can talk about special teams all you want and why you have guys active and not. Here's the deal. They don't have a big play running back on their roster. Mark Ingram's not a big play guy. Tim Hightower's not a big play guy. Cadet's not a big play guy by any stretch of the imagination. You know, these are guys. They're functional. They're solid NFL players, but nobody that can make a big play. Spiller's the one guy, sans the rookie Lasco, who has the speed to perhaps make yards after contact or maybe to run away from people.
Well, I think Murphy fits that mold as well, but I don't think you're going to see a lot of Murphy taking snaps on offense. He's going to be strictly a special teams guy. And look, I was really surprised that there were 6 running backs on the 53 as it were. That's probably unprecedented as it were in the NFL since we've gone to the 53-man roster. Well, obviously now we're down to 5 in that regard. So that was the spot that you really, if you were going to make a move, that was a luxury to have that 6th running back on the 53.
When you turn to the college level, the story has to be about quarterbacks and change. At Tulane, there is a change. Brantley is in. Coulier is out, although he'll probably still play some against Navy. At LSU, who knows? We may see both Etling and Harris. Les Miles didn't tell us. We'll just have to wait and see. I wouldn't be surprised to see both, although you really need to settle on one. Tulane, on the other hand, I can understand why they play both at this stage because they're in a start-over stage as compared to LSU, who's in a national contender stage.
Yeah, I really think we'll see 2 quarterbacks in both of those games on Saturday. LSU at home against Mississippi State, Tulane at home against Navy. It's the old saying, if you have 2 quarterbacks, you have none. Ideally, look, both Les Miles and Willie Fritz, you're right. They're in different stages of their programs. But you'd love to have a situation where one guy just establishes himself as your one guy and you settle on that. You know, Willie Fritz is a little more, shall we say, conservative about the approach, saying, look, he treats the quarterback no different than the 3 technique or is an offensive lineman or anything else. That, if he feels the need to rotate some guys, he will rotate them. It's not like he feels like he has to have one guy in there. They do bring unique skill sets. I thought Brantley brought an energy when he came in the game, not unlike what Etling did, but Brantley brought it with his legs and can really run, although he was not really a heavy runner in high school. He was, he passed a little bit more than what we saw. Now, of course, Tulane only threw the ball 6 times on Saturday. It'll be interesting to see. I'll throw it at you. Tulane Navy, will we see 10 passes on Saturday? I wonder. It could be over quickly, other than the fact you'll have TV timeouts.
Yeah, no question. We're going to see if that sets a record for the fastest game ever. I don't think so, but you get the picture. High school football, another great weekend of games. Kicks off with Thursday night games. Friday night, of course, is the big night. The original on WGSO 990 AM with coverage of games all over the state. 6 hours unprecedented of high school football coverage in conjunction with SportsNoah.com with the best scoreboard on the webs where everybody comes, and that's where the scores come from for the show. We look forward to that on radio. A couple of games, and one of those is a Saturday game as Rummel takes on Wayne County at 2 p.m. It's Wayne County, Mississippi. From Joe Yenny Stadium, I'll have the call with Easton Roth and Rick Gailey. And then Thursday night, a blockbuster. 2 teams that are 2 of the better teams in New Orleans, if not in the state. Edna Carr and Brother Martin. It's a game that you can watch and see and hear and everything everywhere. It's live on WHNO TV 20 and at SportsNoah.com. And if you're driving around or need to listen, it's on WGSO 990 AM and WGSO.com. Great game, great weekend, and we look forward to it.
And no excuse to miss it, by the way, with all of those ways to be able to find it. We should also mention Friday night, Hannon, St. Martin's. From Metairie, we'll have that one live at SportsNoah.com Friday night at 7. And one more for you as well on SportsNoah.com. Going back to the college ranks, Saturday at 3, we'll have Nichols home opener against the University of the Incarnate Word, UIW, Southland Conference game. A lot of buzz about Nichols after their performance last week against Georgia, so we're looking forward to having that one as well.
Vastly improved team. I'm out of breath, so I'm going to shut up. That's our First NBC Bank weekend preview. Brought to you by First NBC Bank with 39 locations throughout the New Orleans area and beyond. That's First NBC Bank, proud sponsor of SportsNoah.com. Lenny, have a great weekend.
Can't help but do. We'll see you Monday.
All right, you have a great weekend as well. We'll talk to you next week. God bless.